So this is from the same um, person. I say Meiji something. So the question is, why do people do this useless conversion? Why take a perfectly working EW12 and convert to EW10? For what? Why not just get an EW10 instead of converting an EW12? Only for somebody to buy a car with a wrong engine on it. Okay, so let me. So see, this is a common thing in Nigeria. I don't know about other parts of the world. It's very common in Nigeria because of people's phobia for V6 and I'm talking about 3.0 or 2.9 liter engine, petrol engine, and the 2.2. Nigerians just have one kind of, I don't know, I don't want to go into that. But because of how scared they are with these engines, um, most times, if I'm talking about foreign used cars imported into Nigeria, not even Nigerian used, most times they end up converting them to the 2.0 liter, which is EW10J4. Everybody is praising EW10J4, which is a good engine, so I'm not taking it away from it. Yeah, it's a good engine. So people tend to run away from this other engine, claiming that they are too problematic, this and that. So what I'll tell you is it's very common. Somewhere like in Kaduna, I buy cars for people, so I know what I've seen so far. Most times when I go to Kaduna, I like to search for cars like 407, 607 for people. You realize that I hardly even bother to open the bonnet on most of them because, of course, let's assume the client says I want one with a EW10J4 engine. So and I enter a car stand and ask the dealer I'm looking for so and so. They were like, "Oh, we have it." So what I usually do is I'll just go straight to like the dashboard where the VIN there's a place on the bottom left side of the windscreen. You could see the VIN of the vehicle there. So I just look at the VIN. Once the VIN is indicating V6 engine or EW12 engine, I can tell by just looking at it. I don't need to go online to confirm. Once I see that the VIN is showing any of these two engines or even other engines, for example, the VIN could also even show a diesel engine. Once I see that, I just bother. Sometimes you'll be like, okay, let's just fulfill all righteousness. So I usually don't bother. I just walk away. Now it's possible that the dashboard probably will change at some point. Maybe like all those converted right hand drive to left hand drive. In that case, they left the old VIN on the dashboard instead of swapping it. Such is possible, but I know most I could tell you almost all the ones that I bother to look under the bonnet. Once I look at the VIN, they all will be showing that EW10J4. And you look at other part of the car where the VIN of the vehicle is engraved. You also see is exactly what I uh, have concluded earlier, that these cars were originally produced with V6 engine, EW12 engine, or diesel engine, or any other engine aside EW10, but then they will do the conversion. I'm telling you, this is common in Kaduna. I'm not saying Abuja, I won't find it, or other parts of Nigeria. It's very common in Kaduna State or city. Um, so this particular vehicle that I did this video on, that had this same issue where the engine was the owner purchased the car with thinking, because he saw EW10J4 engine, thinking that's what they convinced him and showed him the car had, until now bought it. I showed him that that's not what the car was produced with. There was, immediately he told me you got it from Kaduna. That was the first that crossed my mind. So I immediately saw, went straight to confirm my fear or concern that this could also be what happened to this car. And yeah, lo and behold, it was exactly my concern, was proven. So yeah, it's a common thing. It's just that, like I said, most people don't know. They will buy and be using the car every now and then, having issues, this and that, but they wouldn't know that truly this is not the car, the vehicle, engine model. Let not say engine, a specific engine, but I would say engine model the car was produced with, which was why probably their own cars been giving them problems. Because I know most of the people that have done this kind of conversion, especially the EW12 to EW10J4, they always be having engine issues because some of them they won't do the conversion properly. Which, in fact, even if you try to do, had it been this guy, like this vehicle that I did a video on, that they try to convert it fully to EW10J4, I would have told him return the vehicle. To me, it would be pointless. Or even if he will spend so much, because what it now requires will be that the entire injection system will have to be EW10J4. In that case, you start messing with the wires. They will see, you see some cut and join, this and that. The engine ECU, they will do all those. It won't be that. In fact, it can't be a plug and play, because even the wire, the wiring harness, the one we call dashboard wire that comes from inside the vehicle, is completely different. For a 407 with EW10J4, it won't work. We can even EW10A, it will work, but EW10J4 it won't. They are not the same. Even the EW10A, there might be one or two wires you may have to bypass or so, but kind of minimal compared to this one that you have to push out most of the wires for it to work. So my point is, he was even lucky that all they did was the mechanicals that they tampered with or changed. So it was much cheaper for him to revert it back to EW10J4. Had it been that, like they did in some of the ones I've seen or worked on, where they will even try to convert the injection system to EW10J4, now messed it up, which would have even been better than if they left the EW12J4 system to run the engine. Now, the reason why I also explained to the owner of this one on the video, uh, probably that convinced him to do this conversion back to, or reverse it back to the original engine, was original engine model, was because I was telling him even the main reason why they walked away for EW12J4 was not addressed, because it's not the engine that is mostly the problem that they run away from. It's the system that controls the engine, or the engine management, or the attachments on the engine, so which they most times don't know how to diagnose. So, but in this case, it's the same. Those systems are still running the EW10J4. So, what's the point of doing the conversion in the first place? If the motorized throttle body, this one, that one, all those things are still on the engine, the fuel injectors, EW12, the ECU, the wiring harness, everything, it's not the engine. So why do this thing? So you can also leave that EW12J4, since you probably you can't afford to do it properly, so that I can run with EW10J4. It will not affect the fuel, because the engine, yeah, people say EW10J4 consumes less fuel than EW12J4, which I agree with. But in this case, every system, all the components of EW12J4 is running that engine. Every company you can think of is running that engine as of EW12J4 is running the EW10J4 engine. So how do you expect the fuel consumption to be that of the EW10J4? It's not the engine that determines fuel that goes in, especially for EFI system. The fuel injector determines, the fuel pressure determines, even though the fuel pressure is the same with for both engines anyway. The ECU determines, some of the sensors determine, spark plugs, this thing. I mean, so if eventually the system will still be running exactly consuming the same amount of fuel. So I explained to him there was no need. Your car will lack power, and yet it's consuming more than it should. So you can as well put the original engine that will even last longer with this one now, because this one now the engine is being stressed beyond its limit, knowing that the EC is running it like a bigger engine. It's like when you tune engine higher than like people do remap engine or tune engine and the rest. If you do it beyond its capacity, yeah, it will reduce the lifespan. So that's why I say people that I know that have done it, their engine didn't last. As long as you are running it with the engine management system of the bigger engine. These are natural aspirated engine, not forced induction engines where you can actually increase the power much higher by tuning it or all this thing. For natural aspirated, most times you have to tamper with the mechanical, open the engine, maybe change some things for it to handle probably more than 20 horsepower. But turbocharged engines, yeah, they can actually go beyond 20 horsepower or thereabouts with the same without harming it. But for natural aspirated, they are not all, but some of them, if you push go beyond 20 to 30 horsepower, you are likely harming the engine. It might not last. So yeah, it's a common thing. It's not something. It's just ignorance and so many. I don't know how to go about. The funny thing is, this EW12J4 is even the best among the EW24 series. There are two of them, the 3FY and 3FZ. This is the best. I even explained to the person before when he, because he first called, paid for one-off consultant service. I told you if you are going for EW12J4, go for this 3FY version. So it was even among the best engine in 407, petrol engine at least. So I was even surprised that they removed it for what I couldn't even understand. So the solution to this, to avoid all this, see, I'm not here to stop Nigerians from doing that. It will always be there. They will keep doing that until probably Peugeot cars that were produced with these engines faded out of the market. So expect they will always be there. But then, how will you prevent having such experience or buying such cars? Then you get an expert involved. These services I provide for people, but some people, even after doing this, they lack the knowledge or technical ability to be able to detect these things. They will still go ahead and buy such cars. Even if you think, oh, my charge for pre-purchase inspection is too high for you, there's another option. The one, what's it called? The 5-year consultant service fee. You could pay for that one. In that case, yeah, well, of course, I won't go to inspect car for you, but you could seek that advice. You don't even need to get, maybe you've seen a car, maybe your locality that you want to buy, which is probably not Abuja, or you want to search for the car in your locality or your, outside Abuja, because I only search within Abuja. And paying for that pre-purchase inspection probably may not give you, you won't benefit much from it. Yeah, you could pay that 5-year on, which is a lot cheaper, about 50,000 naira as of today. So you could pay that one. You could do the remote inspection. ask your question even while you are there in the car. You could do video call, you could snap pictures and send, and the rest while I guide you the best I can. Of course, it can't be the same no matter how what. It doesn't mean that it will be the same thing if I were the one inspecting the car, because there could be some things I will see there that will make me go further in the inspection. But if you are the one doing that, the video might not show those. I might not see it in the video. My eye will not catch that place. To make me say, go further into the inspection or go beyond my usual check. But at least the basic ones I could be able to say, okay, this one appears okay, this one appears okay. So even if there's another issue, a major issue, it might not be something that will be very detrimental to the car. You could easily fix. Of course, I might not be able to tell the true condition of the body just by looking at the picture or the distance. Those ones, as long as you're okay with the body condition, okay, fine. Then you know that you limit your the at least you'll be able to benefit from what really matters: the injection system, the wiring system, the maybe the engine. I might not be able to, because yes, I could do is to hear the sound and then direct you. Okay, go and check if there's any kind of smoke coming out. And but then I'm not there to drive the car to know how the power comes out from the engine power comes out while the car is in motion, to know if it's truly weak or not. But like I said, you still have a chance of avoiding this kind of mess. So yeah, it won't be like full. It won't be the same like if I were the one doing it myself. But then at least the cost has been reduced. You still stand a chance of getting something better than going blindly. This one, let me explain it so that people will understand very well. This particular car, the owner of the car, I believe, will also watch this video, because I believe he follows me on YouTube. I think so. Or I believe so. This same car, the person, like I said, purchased this car from Kaduna. He worked with a mechanic, I believe a local Peugeot mechanic. So I don't think that that's one thing with people. Oh, but I have somebody. He worked with a Peugeot mechanic, yet he couldn't be able to dictate all these things. Maybe he dictated it, but he didn't care as long as he has EW10J4 there. What really matters, whether the conversion was done properly or not. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you, to you people. So stop being too naive and, I don't know, creating problem for yourself. Your local mechanic will not save you from this kind of issues, because their own perspective differ when it comes to cars. As far as they are concerned, once the engine is sound, once it can start and move, they don't care. So your mechanic is not a solution for you to go and pick a car, because what they usually look at how sound the engine is. That's usually their main focus. If there's a mess on the electrical, or there's a wrong engine or something, probably they won't even care about it. They will assume that, after all, they are the one that abuse most of these things, or put people's car in those conditions. So why would they point out something they even do? Because they don't even see it as an abuse. They see it as normal thing. So why would they see it, like, for example, if the fan is bypassed, just like this one, the fan was bypassed and abused, the wiring connection. We don't point it as an issue, even though I won't discourage someone from buying a car because the fan was abused, the engine cooling fan. But to them, it's normal. Even if it wasn't even abused, they will even recommend you do that immediately you do the purchase. So you see where I'm coming from. These are the things that in fact, they won't help you at all. Even for example, they converted the car from right hand drive to left hand drive, which doesn't mean the car will be bad in terms of the running engine running, management or anything. It's probably the conversion was done properly, but at least you should be able to tell the person, okay, this car was done from this driving position, move to the other side. So if the person still wants to go ahead, fine. But most times they don't care. So the same thing goes with most cars that come in from Lagos, especially in Lagos. But if you are going to Lagos to buy a Peugeot car, always have at the back of your mind that most likely that car was a diesel car. I'm talking about even fully used, directly imported. Understand that most times that's what they do. They import the diesel cars seems to be, but I don't know. I can't say categorically they are cheaper, but I would say they tend to get them. I don't know, maybe cheaper than petrol ones over there, or they are more easily available in Europe than the petrol ones. That one I know for sure. So they get it, shipped it here, and and then convert to petrol. Still to Kumbo, but convert it to petrol engines, which will, of course, will mean the wiring system will have to be touched or tampered. So how, if not properly done, and once you do this kind of conversion, no matter how you try it, one or two things will not work as it's supposed to, or at least will be disconnected completely. It might not really affect, even if you affect the engine power or the fuel consumption, it might be a little bit, maybe like 2 or 3 or 5% mass. But it's no longer factory. So that issue stays there. Like some of them, they will do the conversion, they will introduce the purge canister valve on this vehicle. Because to do that, you have to run the connection. There's a vacuum line that comes from um, is it really a vacuum line sef that comes from the fuel tank up to the engine bay. So those ones they don't bother, because even the diesel tank they don't even have those connections. Or even if you can, you have to introduce it. So they don't bother to change the fuel tank or do, see, some of those are the things. So if you are buying a diesel car converted from petrol, no, if you are buying a Peugeot car converted from diesel to petrol, expect that all these things, these are the things, like an expert now, I know these are the things they tend to not bother to do in the conversion or to swap, because probably the connections, they will not find it on the vehicle, or they won't be able to create that connection. But at least you should know that this car was converted from diesel to petrol. So you expect that your check light must probably stay on, because those connectors, those sensors or components that are supposed to work with the engine are not even there, not to think of the connections. So how do you expect the car to work? Well, I remember 1407, somebody bought a Tukumbo. It was also converted from diesel to petrol. They didn't even bother to change the exhaust. They still use the diesel exhaust. No oxygen sensors, both upstream and downstream, nothing. The person was complaining of high fuel consumption. I now got involved. He just bought the car like today and noticed those issues. The car was not no power, not much power, this and that. I think you remember that time was EW10J4. His colleague now say why did that called me and said this person is having this problem. The car he just purchased today. In fact, the car they just delivered it for him from Lagos. He didn't see the car, he just paid. They delivered the car from Lagos to Abuja. 407 with 2.0 liter engine. That's what they put anyway. So he didn't even know. And according to the colleague that asked him to call me, the colleague gave him my number and said, contact this guy before you pay for this car. Even if you must be that car, let him advise you. Probably if he sees the picture, he will have a better understanding, or he will ask some questions you probably wouldn't even know should be asked. So when eventually I got there, I looked at the car. I mean, conversion, yeah, mechanically was done proper, but electrically a mess. Like I said, I told him first thing first, even the patch canister valve as well, was not introduced. But at least these oxygen sensors, you have to deal with them. To start with, the exhaust have to be dealt with before you can introduce those sensors. So in fact, eventually the person sold off the car because he didn't get back to me. All I did was advise him on what to do. I left. He said he'll get back to me when he didn't have any fund anymore. So I think what happened was he went back and started calling the dealer that he deceived him. He sold him what he didn't want, a car that was converted. So many things were not swapped in or installed that's supposed to work with the engine. I don't even know what eventually happened. He didn't use the car long. I think he sold it off in anger, whatever. So that's my point. Don't go and waste this thing. If you feel that 50,000 naira for consultation is too much for you, well, it's your risk. If you feel the 120,000 for pre-purchase inspection is too much for you, well, but understand that it's not about Nigerians. Why are they doing this? It's immaterial as far as I'm concerned. It does, yeah, it's not important. You can't stop that from happening. What matters is get yourself in this kind of mix or problem. So it is what it is. I mean, for years I've been trying to educate people from not doing or running away from these issues. I mean, from these engines. But I mean, how many people can even some of the people I will speak to and talk to, they will be like, "You don't know what you're saying." There are people that I've seen in workshop. They are already contemplating or converting from EW12 or from V6 to four cylinder. It doesn't matter what you tell them; they will still want to do it. So it's not really about this thing, it's about you don't get involved, you know. So I hope this have answered your question. EW12 personally is a very good engine. Um, doesn't mean it's perfect engine. I mean it has its weaknesses like the MTB, they tend to fail, but not everybody, I'll tell you, has experienced it. But personally, even if I will have an EW12J4 engine, I'll buy the MTB, brand new one, and keep as spare. Not necessarily, I will call it spare, but not that like a spare. I will just buy it new and keep so that the one that will come with the car, anytime it fails, I'll swap in that new one. I'll probably buy another one and keep. Every other thing is make sure the vacuum systems are intact. And you won't be having issues that most people tend to have with EW12, like limp mode or this and that. So okay, I hope this makes sense. All right.